ASX-listed company NickelX Limited, trading code is NKL, is an Australian-based exploration company, primarily exploring for high-grade nickel, copper, cobalt, as well as gold in Western Australia. The company is also developing an in-house nickel prospectivity database, generating projects in WA. We are very glad to invite the company's managing director, Mr. Matthew Gutchie, today to tell us more story about NickelX. Welcome, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. Good to be with you, and good to be introduced to your clients and the market in general.
Thank you. So to start, could you please give us a brief introduction of the portfolio that NickelX has and which of them have the highest priority on working list?
Sure, yeah. So NickelX listed about 12 months ago on the ASX. Our two projects are based in absolute world-class nickel exploration and mining districts. The main project that we're exploring is the Cosmos South Nickel Project. That's based in the Wiluna Greenstone Belt, only 10 kilometres south of the Cosmos operations, which is a fully operational nickel mine, and 20 kilometres north of the Leinster operations, which again is a fully operational mine. So those two deposits are owned by Australia and the world's leading nickel companies, being IGO Limited at Cosmos, and then of course BHP Nickel West at Leinster. We've got a fantastic package of land right in between those two world-class deposits, where we've defined some fantastic targets to commence an exploration drilling program. So that's our highest priority main focus. Our secondary focus is the Biranup project, which is located in the Albany Fraser belt, again host to some world-class nickel discoveries and now operating mines, primarily the Nova Bollinger operations, which is also owned by IGO. So we've defined 4 or 5 targets there, which we've drill tested, found some massive sulfides, and we'll likely revisit that. But our highest priority is to start drilling at Cosmos South.
So why Cosmos South is regarded as the most prioritized project among others, and what advantages it has?
Cosmos South is clearly located in a world-class nickel producing district to start with. We are along strike from very well-known and very profitable nickel mines, being Cosmos and of course Leinster. The work that we've done on the project is primarily related to geological, geochemical and geophysical data. When you're looking for nickel sulfides, and particularly komatiite nickel sulfides like Cosmos and Leinster, the company does need to undertake what's called electromagnetic surveys, being fixed loop EM surveys and moving loop EM surveys, as well as magnetic surveys to really define your targets. So what's got us really excited about Cosmos South is the EM targets are very, very strong, up to 12,000 Siemens, which is really, really high. And they're coincident with a recent magnetic survey that the company undertook to define what lies coincidentally with these EM targets being likely ultramafic rocks. And so a combination of those two geophysical indicators have given us a huge amount of confidence to push forward and drill this project, being a good location. We know that when Cosmos, which is only 10 kilometres to the north, was discovered in 2010, that company was taken over to the tune of $3 billion. And recently IGO took over that company for $1.5 billion. So any discovery in this district really can set alight not only the company's value proposition, but its market capitalisation and share price. It's the right place. It's a world-class district, and we've defined some excellent targets. And now we're gearing up to drill those targets, of which we know can put a cracker under the share price.
So it seems like a lot of surveys have been completed at Cosmos South. So is there any drilling plan on that, and how things are going, like permitting and drillings, this kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. So no, we've defined a 6-hole diamond drilling program over these geophysical targets. That will be a total of approximately 1,500 metres. Those drill plans are being push through the permitting process, both traditional owner and local government process. We anticipate that to be done in the next 4 weeks or so, from which time we'll be able to start drilling after that permitting process. The important thing about the drilling program is we've been supported by the West Australian government with a grant to do this drilling to the tune of circa $250,000. So it does reduce the risk in terms of outlaying cash to undertake these type of drilling programs when you're supported via a grant by the West Australian government. So all the teams in place, and now it's just a matter of completing one final magnetic survey, which we recently completed, now processing the data to be able to define another target, which is just to the south of the project area, called the CS2 target. But the main target we'll be drilling where the geophysical anomalies are is the CS1 target.
Oh, that's great. So the recent announcements also mentioned that the company also expanded its gold footprint in WA. So can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, sure. So the Biranup project, which is our other nickel project, is also highly prospective for gold. It is only 10 kilometres along the strike from the Tropicana gold operations, also owned by, well, was owned by IGO, now owned by Regis and Goldfields. And it was a 7.5 million ounce deposit at 2.5 grams per tonne. Our project area covers a very large area of some sort of 350 square kilometres, and it is along strike from that target and is a gold trend which extends to the north east of our project area. So we're having a bet each way to an extent where we're heavily invested in the nickel market, being base metals, which gives exposure to stainless steel and electric vehicles. But we also have really good gold opportunities, which obviously gold, as we know, is a bit of a hedge against inflation and interest rates. And that's a project which has some outstanding historical results of up to 560 grams per tonne gold at surface, and some 6 metres at 8 grams per tonne in historical drilling. So we do have a drill program lined up for that, and we'll address that most likely to the back end of this year, particularly given we know how prospective it is. It's in a fantastic location, and we hold a very large land holding there. So that's in combination with the nickel targets that we have down at that same project at Biranup.
Yeah, it's mentioned that it owns its own in-house IP and database for analysing and generating projects. Is this an asset that is common to see in peer companies, and how this can benefit the company?
Yeah, no, good question. We built this nickel prospectivity model across the southeast Yilgarn, which is where we're exploring, and also building it across the southwest Yilgarn, which has clearly been the subject of some outstanding nickel PGM discoveries over the last 12 months. And what that effectively does is combines all the geological, geochemical and geophysical data that we are able to acquire, puts them into effectively a black box, adds a lot of fuzzy logic and knowledge that we have in terms of project areas to be able to identify 5 or 6 project areas that we believe are highly prospective for nickel sulfide. And so what that then allows you to do is target those areas either by pegging or staking additional ground, or dealing with other companies who may want to farm out or to joint venture their project areas. So that allows you to specifically target highly prospective areas that is based on very solid science developed by our own in-house team, in which we've got 3 PhD geologists behind that model. So yeah, the intention there is to continue to build a pipeline of projects, over the next 2 years or so, while we're also, busy with drilling Cosmos South.
Oh, great. So at the same time, the company will keep acquiring or generating new projects, also busy at its drilling.
Yeah, no, look, it's a really good policy of any company to have a pipeline of opportunities coming through the system. Clearly, our 80% of our time spent on designing, planning, executing our drilling program at Cosmos South, because that's clearly where our highest priority is. But then we have a team of people looking at generating additional projects that come into the pipeline based on good science in really good areas. And that intellectual property is highly valuable, particularly for potential large nickel mining companies who don't necessarily have a high quality exploration team and high quality nickel exploration database, such that they may be able to partner with us and use our intellectual property to generate those additional nickel sulfide projects.
As you mentioned, NickelX have a great team. So could you please tell us the background of yourself and the team and what the value the team can bring to the growth of the NickelX?
Yeah, sure. So, personally, I've got a science, economics and an MBA background. So I've worked in the mining industry my whole career, effectively, 25 years or so. I've listed 2 nickel companies previously, and this is the newest one, of which we're really excited about, given the targets that we've got and the pipeline that's coming in. And our chairman, Jonathan Downs, he's an exceptionally well-known and respected geologist and director of mining exploration companies. Jonathan has some 30-odd years experience in the Australian mining industry, and particularly in nickel, as he was previously a business development manager with Anaconda Nickel, which was a very famous West Australian nickel company. So between Jonathan and I, we're purely focused at this point in time on really giving Cosmos South a very strong level of attention with respect to our drilling program, and also our potential corporate development program with Cosmos South. Clearly, when you've got two giant nickel mining companies on either side of your project area that are always going to want more product, then we see a fair bit of level of interest from the larger mining companies to either potentially joint venture or assist funding, and in the future potentially even get offtake. And rounded out by our exploration manager, Mr. Tony Donaghy, who's a world-renowned nickel exploration geologist. He's operating our projects. Tony's worked across nickel sulfide projects all through Western Australia, through Canada, and parts of Africa. So Tony's as good as you can get in terms of exploring and developing nickel sulfide. And again, he's got 35 years experience. So between us three, with more than 100 years experience in nickel exploration development and corporate activity, it's a very strong team, and we're very committed to not only having a really strong program implemented at Cosmos South, but also a very aggressive business development and project generation program through our prospectivity model.
So from the company's name, NickelX, we clearly understand is focusing on nickel. So what is your own opinion on nickel market?
Yeah, look, it's very buoyant. Nickel's a $20 billion industry. Circa 70% of nickel goes into the stainless steel market, as we know, and that market is been very strong in the last 6 to 12 months. There's been a lot of stimulation going into Asian economies, into US economies, European economies, which consume an enormous amount of nickel for stainless steel. And a lot of those stimulus packages were put in place, essentially due to COVID, to be able to regenerate industries. China, for instance, were at one stage looking to expand their stainless steel plants fourfold, and I think some of that's been done. But importantly, the real growth market with nickel, particularly from a demand perspective, is coming through electric vehicles, which currently stands at about 25% of demand. Now, BHP, who are the world's leader in nickel mining and processing at the moment, have anticipated and predicted that portion of the market, being 25% for EVs, will increase fivefold up to 2030. And obviously, nickel is the real workhorse in lithium-ion batteries, as we know, and hence in electric vehicles. So we really see a buoyant market. There's really not a huge amount of supply coming on stream at the moment in nickel. So it is a very tight market. And of course, that means there's upward pressure on the price. And with nickel sitting around $22,000, $23,000 a tonne, that's a fantastic price in any cycle and in any year, but we see that increasing substantially, primarily driven by electric vehicles and lithium-ion batteries. So it's a very good mix where you're exposed to basically two of the biggest industries in the world, being the steel industry and the energy market. And there's not a lot of nickel going around, so discovering a really good project and developing a good project in a world-class area like where we are at Cosmos South with two nickel giants right next to us, we feel that that has a recipe for pretty significant market growth and share price appreciation.
Yeah, that's for sure. So for the company's working plans, so what can we expect from NickelX in the next 3 to 6 months?
Sure, yeah. So, two-pronged attack. Effectively, we're running our permitting process for Cosmos South. We've developed our drilling program. That's going to consume the majority of our time in the next 3 months. And then following that, clearly there'll be evaluation of that drilling program through, obviously, chemical assays, modelling up what it is that we hope to discover. And then, clearly generating additional projects based on our prospectivity model. They're the two main things. And then once you've got those two pillars of the business in place, quite clearly we're in the right neighbourhood amongst some real giant nickel players. So there's always the potential of a nickel giant, be it Australian or Chinese or Japanese or wherever from the large nickel market to potentially take a stake in the company if we're able to create those options, which is a nickel discovery, new nickel projects, and then you can start to talk to the global players in the nickel space. So it's going to be a really busy 6 months, and we're very excited about it. We've still got sort of $3.5 million in the bank. The drilling program partly funded by the West Australian government. We're in a very, very good position, and we see really good growth in the nickel market from here on until the end of the year.
That sounds very exciting. So is there anything more you would like to address to investors in the market?
Yeah, look, I mean, the main thing is I think like any good exploration company, you want to be putting a lot of your money into the ground to be able to create value for shareholders. We're very committed to that. We have strong corporate governance policies, strong environmental science and governance policies to implement programs safely. But importantly, any good exploration company has to have the three most important factors. One, a highly experienced team, which we do, a good cash balance, which we do, and clearly three, highly prospective projects in world-class districts, which we do. So those three pillars of any exploration business reduces the risk and provides everyone with a bit of confidence that we'll be, creating value for shareholders, which is what we do for a living.
Oh, great. Thank you, Matthew, very, very much for today. At the survey, we're completing the drilling after, and also more news we can look forward. We believe there will be great potential for NickelX in the future. Again, many thanks for today, and we look forward to all those good news and hope to see you again very soon.
Thanks very much, Steph. Good to be with you. And thanks for the audience for listening. And we're always open to questions and calls. And we hope to be able to engage a lot more.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.